Okay, guys, in Grimerica tonight, we're going to be chatting with Joseph Emet, talking about some mindfulness and all that fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it. This is one of those ones I'm pretty excited about. This is Graham's bread and butter.
I wouldn't say that, but
the group.
I'm a little bit more than you, but that's why we like to do this, because then you can learn how to meditate too, Darren. I said we were talking about mindfulness. He's like, "What's that?" Anyways, we've got.
Well, the thing is, I thought I knew what it was until I got home from work today, and I was talking about it with my wife, and she's like, "I was like, oh yeah, we're talking about mindfulness," and then she went off about all this stuff mindfulness was, and I was like, "Whoa,
you just confused you."
I thought it was.
Well, we'll get the real scoop from Joseph here, who's been training meditating. I think he's been teaching it for like 20 years, and he's written a few books on it. I wanted to mention some of those names, like Sleep Better with Mindfulness Meditation, Buddha's Book of Stress Reduction, A Basket of Plums, which is about where he trained in France, I think it was. We'll ask him about that. And his latest book, which I have in my hands here, which is pretty cool. It's full of good meditations. It's called Buddha's Book of Meditation. Now, Joseph also has a doctorate of music from Boston University, and he's the founder of the Mindfulness Center. I think it's called Mindfulness Meditation Centre in Montreal, and he's had that since 1997. So lots to talk about here. We're looking forward to getting deeper into this topic of mindfulness. So welcome to the Grimerica show, Joseph.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late for us and coming on to talk about this. We've wanted to get deeper into it, and your book is great because it's got all kinds of examples, and you've got music to go with it, and little mantras and stuff like that. And I guess to start off here, I want to kind of jump right into mindfulness as a tool and the power, and then we can kind of go backwards into your history a little bit and get into that. But I want to start with like kind of what Darren was mentioning, how what is mindfulness and how is it beneficial?
Oh, it's beneficial in a number of ways, but mindfulness has been sort of defined as paying attention intentionally. Sometimes like we have automatic thoughts, like thoughts come to us unsolicited, and they're not always happy thoughts, that they could be angry thoughts, irritated thoughts, disappointment thoughts. And with mindfulness, we are aware of these thoughts, and we can even change our state of mind, which is so important because we all want to have, like, we enjoy people who have a sunny disposition and who are positive, and we could be that person with mindfulness practice. That's my number one thing about mindfulness.
Yeah, I've sort of been touting, to be honest with you, it's been the most powerful meditation style for me. And I used to say to people, I'd go to like group meditations and, meetings and stuff like that. I was even in like 12-step programs and this and that, and mindfulness or meditation would come up. And for me, it was like practice of being in the moment. And then when I started reading your book, it sounds like that's kind of how you're describing it as well.
That's kind of what I thought it was, is just being in the present.
Yes, being in the present, as opposed to being in your thoughts. In your thoughts, being in our thoughts could be about the past. Memories are thoughts, kind of thoughts. It could be about the future, anticipation. Even anxiety is a kind of made of thoughts about the future. So being in the present, like right now, it's beautiful and white in Montreal. The snow is beautiful, and it is always beautiful around us if we take the trouble to look around the sky, the people we're with, our environment. Really, really beautiful. And being in the moment, we're able to enjoy all this.
That's interesting. So there's a direct because I appreciate the littler things in life now, for sure. Over the past few years, like looking, outside, and when I'm lying in bed, sleeping in, and the sun shining in, or there's like little things, the birds, whatever it is. And I guess what you're saying is there's a direct correlation with the ability to stay in the moment because you're noticing these things. And that is because, in some ways, mindfulness helps you do that.
Yes, that's the mindfulness mantra. Be here now and come back come back to your body because the body is my home, because the body is here now. My mind could be somewhere else. So when my mind is with my body, with my breath, then my mind is also here. They are together, which is the basic idea. Yeah.
So, what in your past decades of research here and teaching all these people to watch their thoughts and you mentioned it at the beginning here how thoughts come unsolicited. Where do these thoughts come from? Like, is it just a mix of? I mean, we could speculate. We talk about all kinds of crazy stuff in Grimerica. Like, you could be connected to some sort of collective unconsciousness or consciousness, and then also, I guess, it comes from your epigenetic past, that type of thing.
Well, I think thoughts are basically generated by your state of mind. If you're in an angry state of mind, you'd keep having thoughts like, how could she do that to me? Or she's so mean. And if you're in a, positive, say, full of gratefulness, you'd say, oh, I really appreciate what she did to me. She's such a nice person. I'm really glad she's around. I think there's a different, real correlation between your state of mind and your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. So, how do you change your state of mind then?
Well, indirectly. You can't change it directly, but you can change it indirectly by filling your heart with positive emotions, with positive thoughts. Like, for example, this show, I could think of it with anticipation, with hope that it'll be a wonderful show. I could think of it as a joyful occasion, or I could think of it, oh, what a drag, what kind of thing is that going to be? Maybe it'll be terrible. Like having positive thoughts about it makes it a pleasure. It makes it something to look forward to. And I do that by thinking positive thoughts about it. And that really puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, but you make that choice, right? Like you have the awareness to make the choice, right?
For sure. But now that is a state of the second stage of meditation. The first stage is being aware of your thoughts in the first place,
yeah.
which is not always the case. Like, how many times people say to somebody, "Why are you so angry?" And he'll say, "I'm not angry." But everybody in the room can see that he's angry, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows it except him. So, yeah, once you're aware of your thoughts, then it's possible to make a change.
Because
So what'd the first step be?
well, is the awareness, right? Watching.
As soon as
probably,
you're
right?
like when you find yourself in a bad mood, just go to your happy place.
Well, the first step in meditation is like when I have these 8-week sessions, for several weeks, we practice watching the breath, watching our thoughts, sort of disengaging from the thoughts so that I am not my thoughts. Like, my mind is not entirely thoughts. It's like the sky, the cloud is not the sky. My mind is like the sky, and thoughts are like the clouds. So the first step is not to identify with the thought, not to be the thinker, but to be the one who observes the thoughts. It's a big step. It doesn't come easily. Like, in an 8-week session, we spend maybe 4 weeks just doing that, just sitting and watching our sensations, the breathing, thoughts, state of mind, and so on. And then we have sort of the tools. We're able to make a transformation, that change. But that first step is really essential.
Are you there, Graham?
Yeah. Yeah, no. I I totally agree with him, right? It's like something clicks when all of a sudden you start to be aware of your thoughts and you can really see like when you can come back to the moment. Like you feel yourself slipping in and out of the moment and you can catch yourself a little bit sooner. Like for me, I was meditating in a group last night and I couldn't focus on my breath for more than like 5 or 10 seconds and I was thinking about something. But the time that it takes me to catch that and come back is way less than it used to be. Like it used to be, I could go off for like 5 minutes, and in dreamland and la la
Never
land,
come back.
but now I catch myself a lot quicker.
That is, you described it perfectly.
And
That
then you
is,
just get to poof or nothing.
that's a stage everybody goes through, and sometimes that's the first time they've noticed what a busy place the mind is, And I have to tell you that there are people who think that it's meditation that causes this, and there are people who come and never don't come again. But
I see what you mean. Yeah.
but it's the first time they become aware of it because they've never sat quietly and observed the mind. So meditation just makes you aware of it. It doesn't cause it.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge for like I got my friend to do some mindfulness meditation the other night, and she was really surprised at how relaxed she got. But I didn't clarify the difference between different meditations. Like there's a big difference between just doing a guided meditation and you're kind of using your visualization and following somebody's voice down some garden path to some magical crystal city or whatever, compared to just sitting there quietly and watching your thoughts. But it got her really relaxed, and it reminds me of what Eckhart Tolle used to say about, or what he said in the last couple of books about worry, right? How so many people worry about things, and really, you can think about that thing that's worrying you, but you don't have to worry about it, right? You can accept worrying is really just putting yourself in the future. It's not, so you can't really become present and worry at the exact same time. So how do people get out of that negative frame of mind when they're maybe they're just learning how to meditate and they still kind of get stuck in that negative feedback loop?
Yeah. Well, you know that according to psychologists, about 40% of our disposition is inherited. Like some of us have sunny dispositions, and you know that with babies, like some of them cry forever, and some of them smile a lot and don't cry so much. And so some people are sort of winners at this genetic lottery, and the others, this is the question: are they stuck for life with their less sunny disposition?
Yeah.
And the answer is not if they practice mindfulness meditation. That gives you a handle on being able to change your default state of mind, default thoughts, default whatever emotion.
Yeah. So is that kind of what you're when you talk about brainfulness in your book? Is that just that's your thinking, right?
That the thing that now you're getting into a very, very interesting subject, very close to my heart. What I mean by brainfulness is that the brain has its own interests and biases. Like it's an organ, like your stomach has its own biases, interests. It's basically eat, right?
Yeah.
And
survival based, I'm guessing. That's my guess.
Survival base, yes. And more than that, I mean, you look at our hockey games, it looks like tribal warfare sometimes, and there's the brain, like traditionally, especially with guys, win the contests, aggression, dominate, be the alpha male, get the girl. I mean, we millions of years of evolution and caveman stuff, and the brain still pushes us toward these things. So being mindful is kind of being aware of these tendencies And I give the example in the book. For example, when I go to the gym, my brain tells me, park close to the door so you don't have to walk so much. And that's funny because I go to the gym to exercise in the first place, right? and so listening to your brain messages with a grain of salt is not possible without mindfulness. Like without mindfulness, people hear their brain tell them something and they say, "Amen. This is it. This is absolute truth." I mean, look at all those guys, all kinds of violence. The guy who went to Parliament Hill and started shooting. I mean, his brain told him to do that, right? And he didn't question it. He said, "Okay, I'll do it."
Yeah.
So this is also part of what I mean by brainfulness as opposed to mindfulness. Not listening to everything your brain tells you.
Which I suppose everyone, or most everyone, I suppose, can do to some extent, right? Like everyone gets those fleeting thoughts that they just disperse.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
your boss or this or that, and it's just taking it to the next level, I guess, of doing that over everything.
Yeah. Well, this is a big issue in psychology and psychotherapy. Like if you're a depressed person, what your brain is telling you is making you miserable. Like you're no good. The sky is going to fall on you tomorrow. Your girlfriend's going to leave you. You're going to leave your job. You're no good, whatever. And that's what it is, depression, how it makes you miserable. And so psychologists, psychotherapists are doing exactly this, that they are training you not to identify with the voice of your brain. But this is also important in lifestyle, in like you can go to a psychologist if you're depressed, but psychologists don't treat the caveman syndrome, because it's not in the diagnostic manual, right? But the caveman syndrome, I mean, look at all the bullying, look at all the spouse abuse, look at all the, aggression so much. There was a $2 billion settlement at the American Football League, people butting into each other. I mean, this is real primitive instinct, and mindfulness makes you aware of these primitive urges, and you don't have to do it if you're aware of it. You can talk back to your brain,
Yeah, that's interesting.
I can actually, I'm pretty good at doing that sometimes. I mean, I have a pretty high stress job, which could fucking run away from me a lot of days. I mean, you know what I'm dealing with out there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at
letting it go,
reeling it all in. Yeah. And I mean, I've always, when I'm pissed off, I mean, look out.
Yeah.
But I can usually shake it off, within like at best, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. And sometimes if it's something bad, maybe never more than a day though. Like I never dwell on anything longer than a day. And usually minor things I can, especially if it's sunny out. If it's sunny out, it's way easier to forget your problem.
Yeah, you bet. For sure. Well, it's true. Dwelling on these things, like I hate to use him as an example, but my dad was an angry guy. I mean, he was angry at the cat, the dog, his kids, his wife, his friends, drivers on the road. And he stewed in that anger. He never questioned it. And that was him, anger was him. And I think everybody has a measure of mindfulness. With some of them, like you described, a perfect example of, letting go after a while or whatever. I think many people have a measure of mindfulness, except that in mindfulness meditation, we train to make that measure a bigger measure,
Yeah, yeah. And then that would lead into some of the other Buddhist principles that you've probably taught about, like compassion and detachment and like the equanimity and not judging people. Can you talk a bit about how those other principles are related?
For sure, for sure. You're hitting on my favorite subjects there. Now, now, there's just a minute ago, we were talking about letting go. But the positive emotions, you know, the Buddha has been sitting. What has he been doing? Like he's been sitting in his books and his images on the internet. What he's actually doing is cultivating the garden of his heart. He's been cultivating positive emotions. So he's filled, that's his default mental state: love, compassion, peace. When John Lennon talked about love and peace, those are not the only positive emotions. Those were shorthand for love, peace, compassion, gratitude, inspiration, joy, serenity. There's a few more. Confidence, a measure of pride. Barbara Ferguson, the psychologist, has 10 positive emotions. I have a couple more to add. Contentment is one she doesn't use.
Yeah, I like that. That's a big one, I think.
What about elation?
Yes, she uses the word awe, like an awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so would that be the same as, like, I think, I'm thinking of the documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but where he talks about where he plays, like, he plays you a video of someone, like, crashing their bike or something, and everyone gets that feeling, and then he explains to you what that feeling is, and then he shows you I think it's like the little kid sees his daddy, surprises him coming home from war early or from the military or whatever. And he's like, that feeling you get in your chest, that was his way of proving that humans are not bred to
not bred
eat
to
each other, dog eat dog.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, every thought has a color. Every thought has a color. Like, think of a person right now and let an image of a person come to your mind. That image is accompanied by an emotion. And we're aware of the picture, like, okay, this is Dan, right? This is his picture in front of me. But often there is a feeling that comes together with the picture. It could be a feeling of, like, you really like that guy, okay? Or it could be a negative feeling, like, I don't know.
Like he's angry or something.
Yeah. There was an American expat in my group once, and she said, "Okay, tell me how to love George Bush." and she floored me every time. I didn't know what to say, but but the thing is, I just mention that to give an example that there is a color, an emotional color, emotional tone that accompanies every image, friend, foe, whatever. And the idea is to become aware of the color that person comes in. And once you know that, you can paint that person a different color, paint him with loving colors, paint him, or if you can't manage loving colors, except at least indifferent colors, instead of negative colors, just paint him in different colors, neutral colors. At least it won't bother you anymore,
So is it like dark, bad, bright, good?
Yeah, if you like. There is something very interesting in what you say. According to psychologists who study positive psychology, the images of people we like and we love appear brighter in our minds. And the images of people we don't like or we're neutral to appear like less luminous, more faded. Not interesting. So there is something to what you say, for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if the color red is the color red my personal vibration or my personal feeling? And is Darren's color red different? Or do you think there's some correlation between the color red?
By itself, what I mean by color is emotional color, really.
Like a vibration kind of, or?
Like if Darren is fond of you, he'll think of you with glowing colors. Okay.
Yeah.
And
looking good, bud.
yeah. So the idea is that you can practice, call up images of everybody. I don't know, the bank clerk, the bus driver, the people you know, and surround them with glowing colors, surrounding them with the emotional colors of appreciation. I mean, everybody has something good about them, Find that and let that thought change the color that you see that person in. That's a practice.
And that leads into the non-judgmental part of Buddhism, right? Where you're really not taking things personally and not judging people for the negative things.
Yeah. Now, taking things personally, that's a whole field itself. But not judging is right on, for sure. People, as well as that's also, a big issue in pain management. Like, you have pain, we even judge the pain. We say, this is awful. It shouldn't be like this. Will it ever go away? Is it cancer? And the judgment we have about the pain is often worse than the pain. It makes us suffer more than the pain itself.
Yeah.
So, that's a big issue for sure.
Can you expand on the pain part? That's pretty close to my heart. So how can people detach from the pain?
Well, there are several ways. Right now, I have a course for cancer patients at a big hospital here, and this is a big issue, of course. The issue is one Buddhist practitioner put it this way. He said, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional."
Yeah.
What she meant was that, separation is painful, physical pain is painful, chemotherapy is painful, but sometimes we make stories about it that are even worse than the actual physical pain. Like, you know what I mean? I gave a few examples. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? I don't deserve this. This is so terrible. And so on and so forth. And that is what suffering is made of.
Being a victim?
Victim stories. You're right on. Right. Like, animals don't seem to do that. Pain is pain. Death is death. Everything is so simple. We have really complicated minds, for sure.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more, but what do you think there?
I wonder if animals are that. I wonder if it's just different for them. You know what I mean?
I almost feel like they would be. They would heal better from injuries and stuff. Because
I wonder if it's more based on, I wonder if intelligence would be a marker of consciousness level. I mean, that seems to be our best guess. So then, like, dolphins and must be feeling some similar emotions and things like that. But and then monkeys. They don't always seem so fucking good at controlling them either.
Yeah. But you see, animals don't know what death is. They have no conception of death, so they're not afraid of it. It just happens to them, and that's the end of the story, whatever. But we anticipate. You see, fear of death is probably worse than death. According to psychologists, 68% of us have really huge fear of death. And we suffer because of that. And I have been at the bedside of a family member. She was absolutely terrified of death. And animals don't have that because they do not anticipate. It just happens to them when it happens. When it's time, they go.
Yeah. Huh. So, what do you think about the whole New Age thing about vibrations? Like, we talk about colors, like seeing, different shades or brightnesses of colors when you look at people and all that. Is there a vibration that's correlated to that too? They talk about raise your vibration. You hear it so much in the New Age healing background, and just lately, I've actually kind of almost had a little mini epiphany about how that might work. Like, I kind of visualized it in my head. Like, truly, if your vibrations were raised, and things were like finer tuned, that it wouldn't allow things to enter and penetrate the same way as if you had like a lower kind of negative vibration. What are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I tend to think that it is a metaphorical way of speaking.
Okay.
Like psychologists talk about mood contagion. If your mood is elated, you're contagious. I mean, you make everybody happy. There are people like that. They walk into a room, it's like a ray of sunshine, And if your mood is really down, and people like that, they go around like a black cloud, So your mood is contagious. And I think vibration refers to that in some ways, in a metaphorical way, for me.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that's.
Yeah, my wife talks about that, how she can tell the vibrations of a room. Sometimes you can. You walk into a place and somebody's pissed right off.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. That's interesting. We probably shouldn't go down that path too far. But if you step back and look at our society right now, you've been in this for a while, and it seems like to me we're polarized. We have people interested in meditation more so than ever, kind of like yoga was like 20 years ago, and then we also have this whole, like you were mentioning before, the kind of like this masculine competitive environment where people are just living in their heads the whole time. And then we have the whole pharmaceutical industry that's actually, in some ways, going against mindfulness and completely kind of numbing out our minds of, even the youth and all that. Do you ever think about that at the higher level, and you have any thoughts?
Yeah, you're hitting a very sad subject there, as you know, because there seems to be a conspiracy against mindfulness,
Yeah.
Almost in the media and all that. Recently, I came across a statistic which is unbelievable, that the media give us 17% more negative news than positive news. I mean, I knew that there was a negative bias, but 17 times, not percent, I made a mistake, 17 times.
17 or 70?
17.
Okay, 17 times though. Yeah, not a percent. So,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
I mean, over here, whenever I turn on the radio, it's news about some Islamic State massacring somebody, or whatever. It's really a litany,
Yeah, it's brainwashing, really.
And trying to keep a sunny disposition, listening to the evening news is a real challenge. I think even the Buddha might have had a tough time doing it. Yeah, listen to the evening news and keep a sunny disposition.
So what do you do in your own personal life in that regard? Because I don't really watch the news myself just because of that. It's actually And the longer you go without watching it, the crazier it seems when you do watch it.
Yeah. It's like it's been saying the same things over and over again, and you turn it on and it goes right on. Very true, very true. Well, yeah, avoid watching it. This is a big issue for Buddhists because everything nourishes your spirit in one way or another. It could nourish negative feelings in you, or it could nourish positive feelings. I mean, we all know songs, for example, that do that. You know that old song, "What a Wonderful World." You know that Louis Armstrong song?
Yeah.
Oh man, you can listen to it every day, once a day in the morning, and it'll make your day, And there are other songs, particularly rap songs, that are quite the opposite. I mean, and everything is the same way. There are movies that at the end of the movie you come out there feeling like 10 feet tall, and there are movies that, yeah. So the idea is to choose what you feed yourself carefully, just like you choose what you eat. Choose what you see, what you hear, what you read, and so on.
So what do you do? What do you do personally to keep on top of current events? I mean, if you even feel like you have to, because sometimes I struggle with if I don't watch the news, like I'll listen to, a new media podcast and stuff like that to get more of a balanced sort of view of things. But I still feel like sometimes I'm missing out on the current events. But really, when I look at it, it's kind of just distraction anyways. But what do you do to get your dose of what's going on out there?
Well, I have a couple of newspaper sites that New York Times is one of them. And there I choose what I click on, like they don't choose what to feed me. I choose what I want to eat, it's like cafeteria is where you choose the plate you want to take, so that's how I get my daily dose of, and then there are positive news too, so I can click on them instead of, the negative news all the time.
Yeah. And the only way to do that is to go online, really, go to the internet and do that, because you definitely can't pick your positive news stories out of the TV. That's for sure.
No. And now I'm beginning to understand why this show, why you interviewed me at 10 o'clock, because it's like like the mood of the show is like the kind of chats you have at this hour,
Actually, yeah. Well, there's more reasons than that, but it's 8 o'clock. We started 8 o'clock here, which gives us enough time to put Darren's kids to bed and stuff like that. And yeah. Oh. But it is, we like it casual here because it's kind of more real in a way. We don't really censor anything, and we can talk about things pretty openly.
That's great. Well,
just sit in an office.
Yeah.
Of course, you knew it was 10 o'clock here, right?
I did. I know.
Graham's a real night owl.
I'm not a night owl.
Or is it a night hawk?
No.
Yeah.
So have you seen changes in the last 20 years then through, obviously, like I mentioned, meditation seems to be like yoga was last year. Have you been pretty happy with the, how it's catching on with people?
Yeah, I see people privately for meditation coaching, and I see them in 8-week courses, and I really see the difference, and they tell me the difference, and it's really wonderful to hear and wonderful to follow.
Yeah, that's good.
Is enrollment up? Are you noticing more of a demand?
Yeah, well, there has been a demand. So since I started, there always has been a demand. I mean, John Kabat-Zinn and Thich Nhat Hanh were pioneers. Their first books that really caught on, Miracle of Mindfulness for Thich Nhat Hanh and Full Catastrophe Living with John Kabat-Zinn, those books were published in the 70s. And they really caught on. And Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Miracle of Mindfulness, has been selling about 35,000 copies a month since then.
Wow.
And so has John Kabat-Zinn's books have been selling. I mean, it's not that new a phenomenon, although you're quite right in that it's sort of seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and more people are aware of it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, not even mindfulness specifically, but meditation in general. Like the float tank. I'm not sure if you've heard about. We have a new float tank set up here in Calgary. We're going to have the guys on, but they're kind of like sensory deprivation tanks where you get in this, body temperature salt water, and that's becoming very popular. So people are definitely interested in exploring their consciousness a little deeper.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it recently in this area, but John Lilly, the guy who wrote so much about dolphins, experimented with that, and I think he was one of the first people who put that on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard about John Lilly today on the way here. Actually, that people are talking about that.
Who's John Lilly?
Well, he's the guy that started experimenting in float tanks quite a bit and writing about his experiences in there. He'd go in there for like 3 hours at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
I've only been in one time.
Yeah. So, what else do we want to talk about? How about Thich Nhat? How do you pronounce your guy's name again? Thich Nhat Hanh?
Yes. He's a person with a wonderful smile, a very engaging look on his eyes, and you really, when you see him, it's very difficult not to like him. Your heart goes out to him, and his smile is very, very precious. Like, I've been to Plum Village where he lives maybe 10 times, about a month at a time. And I sort of imagine him in my mind's eye. And when I see him, his smile is always more generous and warmer than what remained in my imagination. He's really a very, very engaging person.
And that was in France, you said, right? You trained under him in France?
Yes, mostly in Plum. Well, where he lives, he calls it Plum Village, because when he first, the boat people, refugees, and he wanted to create a place where these people could come and live on the land. So he planted plum trees in that part of France. It's a big industry, plum jam. Have you ever eaten plum jam?
No, I don't think I have, actually. Have you, Darren? Do you like plum jam? I'll have to try it.
I probably have had plum jam. I remember my grandma used to have all sorts of different jams and jellies and marmalades. And
I had it there for the first time, and I felt like, wow, where have I been? Anyway, so he created this thing with over 1,000 plum trees and vegetable gardens and so on, and that was how the plum village. In French, it's the village of plum trees. Plum village doesn't make as much sense as a village of plum trees. So that's the origin of that term.
And how did you get into that yourself? Have you always been? Did you grow up interested in Buddhism and meditation?
No, not really. It was chance encounters, chance readings, and something sounds good, and you follow up on it, and one trail leads to somebody, and then things like that. That's how I got into it. A number of chance occurrences like that.
Yeah, we sometimes call them synchronicities. It seems like a lot of our guests have those.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. Yes.
Would you want to talk about your meditation center in Montreal a bit and what you do there?
Yes, I started by offering open meditation evenings, like drop-in meditation evenings, and it would go on all year, and people would come in and whenever, and so on. And at some point, I realized that it it is really part of this practice to make a commitment of some kind. Uh, to make a commitment, like now, I offer like sessions where people come because they want to live with less stress, or they want to sleep better, or live with less discomfort in the case of cancer patients and so on. These people really know why they're there for, and it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference rather than sort of come because meditation is a cool thing, you know? That's one thing. But when you really have a challenge and you're motivated to work for it, because meditation, you have to do the work. You know, nobody else is doing it for you. You're doing it. So it really helps if you're motivated. And so recently, my groups are focused groups. They're focus groups with specific focuses.
Mm-hmm. I guess even if somebody's going to explore it, like my type of thinking is that maybe you've planted a seed in a lot of people that may come back later when they have more of a purpose.
Yes, there are, for sure, there are people like that as well. I also see people privately for meditation coaching. There are people who come to say, well, yeah, I want to explore this. For sure. That's also legitimate because, I mean, let's face it, that's how I got into it. That's probably how you got into it, curiosity and so on. But I really feel more at home when somebody has a burning question, a burning issue, something that really hurts, or some discomfort that they want to get rid of, or whatever. Motivation is very strong.
So you've seen lots of people heal through these things?
Oh yeah, I don't know. In 20 years, I don't know how many thousands of people have gone through here, and I've learned from them, perhaps as much as they've learned from me. Uh, when somebody opens up and tells you what's really in their heart, I don't care how smart you are, how wise you are, but you can't fail to be touched by it,
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about your book here before we run out of time? It's the Buddha's Book of Meditation, and it's Mindfulness Practices for a Quieter Mind, Self-Awareness, and Healthy Living. And I like the way you've laid this out. Do you want to describe to some people out there how your book is laid out and you have different chapters and meditations that go along with music and
how important is diet, say, to mindfulness? I suppose putting the right foods into your body and things like that sort of go hand in hand.
Well, I think that's in the book as well. Like if you go to a Buddhist retreat center, you won't eat fried foods and you won't drink sugary drinks because those foods are not conducive to having a healthy brain. Like when your body is unhealthy, you look in the mirror and you see your pouch and whatever. But when your brain is unhealthy, you look in the mirror and you don't see it. It's it's hidden. So it's really important for a diet goes to be in touch with how you feel after you eat something. How do you feel a short while after? And let that be a guide. Yeah, in this book, there are a number of chapters. I don't know how many, 17, 18, something like that. And each chapter zeroes in on a different aspect of meditation. Like The basic practices are very simple: getting in touch with your breath, not identifying with your thoughts, being in the moment, being present, and so on. Basic practices are relatively simple, but applying them, for example, you mentioned diet, applying them to that, applying it to relationships, applying it to your work life, to family, whatever, that is the real issue. So long as your wisdom remains on the shelf, it's not much use to you. And so in this book, each chapter deals with a different aspect of life and how to bring mindfulness into that area. And yeah.
What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Can you maybe, for our listeners, before we wrap it up, give a quick synopsis of, like, say someone like myself who's never meditated really. I tried to do that object one the other day for a few minutes, but then I got bored.
Single pointed focus or something, that would probably be called. I don't know.
Yeah, the one where you just try and imagine the object.
Yeah.
But I got distracted a couple of minutes in. But what's like, say, to wake up tomorrow and start to be more mindful? What's tomorrow look like for someone who's never done anything really down this path before? Well, mushrooms, do those count?
Yeah. Well, my best suggestion to you would be to go to my website, which is Mindfulness Meditation Centre, one word, Mindfulness Meditation Centre, Centre spelled the Canadian way, TRE, .org. Click on books, and then click on Buddha's Book of Meditation, the book you have in your hand. And there you have 12 practice songs and 3 guided meditations that you can listen to or download to your iPod or whatever. And tomorrow morning, you can listen to one of the practice songs, or you can meditate with one of the 3 guided meditations. They're freely available. They go with a book. Of course, you would get further ahead if you read the chapter about it in the book, but the practices are good by themselves as well. I start with guided meditations because it is not always productive to leave someone and to say, okay, sit down and meditate. It doesn't always work. So after you go through a number of guided meditation exercises, then when you sit down by yourself, you might remember some of the instructions. And so it puts you on the right track, for sure.
Yeah, that's good advice.
They're like training wheels.
Yeah, it is. So speaking of that, staying on that vein, what is your advice to people that just say that, they can't meditate? Like, they think that it's all about being able to completely quiet your mind. Because I meet people like this all the time where they say right off their bat, their thing is they can't do it because they're no good at it, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the beginning of the show, I think you said something like that, which was right on. I felt, you get caught up with thoughts and you follow your thoughts and you get lost in them. And when you first begin the practice, you might get lost in your thoughts for 5 minutes before you say, hey, I'm supposed to be meditating, and come back to your body and to your breath. Yeah. And you said that after a while, practicing after a while, you do it faster. Instead of after 5 minutes, you do it maybe after 5 seconds, and then eventually maybe after 1 or 2 seconds. So coming back, finding yourself in your thoughts and coming back is part of the practice. As you say, what is not part of the practice is staying there, following your thoughts and getting lost in your thought. So when some people say they don't meditate well, I just want to tell them that it's okay. It's okay. This is not about perfection. We all have these huge brains, and thoughts are like very alluring, and they sort of say, "Come, come, come, and follow me." And but the sooner we realize we're doing that and come back to our breath and to our body, the better it is. And this only happens as you practice. And this is part of the practice. So it doesn't mean you're a bad meditator. It just means that you're on your way.
Huh, that's good advice. You catch that, Darren?
I'm a bad meditator. That's all I took away from that.
That's why they call it the monkey mind, and everybody's got one. So that's good. Is there anything else you want to mention before we start wrapping it up?
Yeah, the monkey mind, the monkey mind, the poor monkeys. Well, you see, this is the first stage when you consider the monkey mind as a distraction, as background noise, like the radio in the background as you're trying to do something. The second stage is paying attention to the monkey mind and trying to figure out which one of the 264 species of monkeys this one is, But that only happens after the first stage, when you quiet the monkey a little bit, then you listen. That is becoming intimate with yourself. That is becoming friends with yourself, really knowing yourself, self-knowledge, self-understanding. And that is what is so precious about meditation. This American lady, Julia Cameron, who's written a lot of books about creativity and meditation, I love the title of one of her books. It's called Finding Water. Refers to the tree's roots reaching down and finding water, finding what is fresh, what is nourishing. And it's all part of meditation.
So what's the third stage then? The second stage is kind of choosing and making friends with the monkey mind. And what would be the third stage then?
The third stage is very, very special and very specific to Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching. He calls it transformation. It is what we were talking about a little while ago, changing your default setting. Like you have a computer in front of you, you can change your default browser. Do we have less control over our minds than over our computers? We can change our default state of mind with mindfulness practice. And this for me is the heart of the matter, to fill your heart. You are the gardener. There's a garden in your heart. And you're the gardener. You're the garden as well as the gardener. And you can't blame anyone else for whether it's poison ivy that's growing in your heart or lilies and irises and dahlias and roses. And this is transformation. You change the drift of your natural, spontaneous thoughts with practice.
I love it because you're really talking about what the science is starting to prove now with the brain and how liquid and how what's the word I'm looking for? Plasticity, like the plasticity of the brain and rewiring your neural and rewiring your pathways and all. That's basically what you're talking about. Like the Buddha's been doing this for thousands of years.
Yes. I never quite thought of it in those terms, but I think you're right on. Yes.
Yeah, I love that part where these two, the old Eastern traditions and the new science is coming together, especially the neuroscience, because the brain is proven to be quite a crazy thing, and they're starting to learn so much about what's causing it to fire and how it fires in the way it does. And
quantum physics is really rocking the boat too.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that should about do it. I know it's getting late over there on the cold side of the country.
Yeah, it's wow. It's how did it get to be 11 o'clock already here?
Yeah. Do you want? I mean, we don't have to go. If you have more, you can. You want to share with us?
Yeah, yeah. I would like to say that I learn about these things, and the songs for me are a big part of my personal practice because a song stays in your ear like an earworm. You know how people go out of the movies like whistling the love tune, whatever. And when there is words attached to that earworm, the words also go in your mind. A mantra mimics concentration. And concentration is the weakest part of a beginner, the weakest skill they have. And what I love about mindfulness songs and mindfulness mantras is this ability of the tune to run in your mind and mimic concentration. And they form a big part of this book, Buddha's Book of Meditation. And they're all available on the website mindfulnessmeditationcenter.org by clicking on books and then clicking off Buddha's Book of Meditation. They're available for free download with or without the book now. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll try one out this weekend.
Yeah, that's good. It's so funny.
Is meditating like mushrooms? I should clear my schedule.
No, I don't think it's quite that. I don't think it's got quite that impact.
I'm not going to get there right away.
No,
at least
it's going to take you some time. So, but I like what you said about the songs.
Though, to be a super meditator.
No, I wouldn't have those expectations. I don't think expectations are important in Buddhism. So, what about the songs and the memory? I love that because I go to work and sometimes I'll play a song before I go in and it sticks in my head. And even today, a coworker of mine was singing something and I was like, what are you doing singing? And I could tell she was trying to remember what somebody told her and she was saying it in a song. Like she was singing it in a singing voice.
Really?
And
wow.
So it's like what you're saying. So instead of just listening, like you've got the song to accompany the mantra and the meditation and that kind of ingrains it in your head a little bit more.
Yeah, and singing makes you high. I like to think that birds get high not only by flapping their wings, but also by singing.
There you go, Darren. Try that before your meditation.
Not much of a songbird.
No, these songs would make a wonderful introduction to a meditation session. Let me tell you why. Because your mind is full of everyday concerns, like you got to buy this, you got to do this, you got to do this errand, you got to make sure the host for your show, whatever. You're miles away from meditating. When you sit, the same mundane thoughts are going to run in your mind. One client of mine told me about this in a very picturesque way, describing her first meditation session. She said, it was the longest to-do list I ever did. It took me 20 minutes of making lists of what I was going to do for the rest of the day. that was our meditation session. But if you start with listening to those meditation mantras, one a day, one for each meditation session, they will bring you to the edge of meditation. They will bring you to the place. And all you have to do is hop in. You don't start like a mile away from meditation. You're right there, and it'll color your sitting period and make it productive and creative.
Very
perfect.
Nice.
That sounds like perfect ending to a lovely chat.
Yeah, it's better than ending with quantum physics. I agree.
Yeah.
I think, what did we do quantum physics like a year ago, and I'm still a little messed up upstairs.
Yeah. Don't blame you.
Yeah, so we're going to link to your website and your books and all that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Are you on the Facebook or the Twitter or anything like that?
I'm afraid, no, I have never managed to develop an intimate relationship with those things.
Entities.
Yeah, kind of.
Viruses.
Yeah, kind of. That's okay. I don't have either of those either.
You do, though.
I kind of do. Just
By
for the show,
extension.
really. Yeah, by extension, yeah.
Well, there are degrees of addiction, right?
That's right. It's called harm reduction.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late.
Well, I really enjoyed this. It was like chatting with old friends, and I feel like I've really got to know you. And thanks for inviting me along.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah, if you're ever out west, you're welcome to pop into the igloo.
You okay? Okay.